Hair was not just a musical about peace and rebellion. It was a chaotic freefall into cultural memory identity politics, and a production so unpredictable that even the director could not control it. Costumes vanished, crowd scenes imploded. New York residents panicked during filming and complained that the movie was unleashing real hippies into their neighborhoods. And that was only the first week. Today, we uncover 15 weird facts about Hair. Fact number 15, the cast. Training turned into a real spiritual boot camp. Miloš Forman does not want actors pretending to be free-spirited drifters. He wants them to live it. What audiences never see is that before filming starts, the entire cast enters an intensive workshop designed to break down ego routines and inhibitions. The sessions take place in open spaces with no structure and no schedule. Every performer must sing, shout, cry, and improvise emotional confessions in front of strangers. What was meant to be a bonding exercise quickly becomes a psychological minefield. Some actors leave the room shaking. Others embrace the chaos and transform their characters completely. Forman believes that this raw exposure allows the film to capture authentic vulnerability. Not method acting, but something deeper, something closer to spiritual excavation. It leaves the cast exhausted, yet united, and it shapes the movie's sense of unpredictable truth. Fact number 14. Central Park freakouts stop filming multiple times. Hair looks effortless on screen, but shooting in Central Park becomes a daily survival challenge. Real New Yorkers wander into frame and react wildly to the film's barefoot dancers. Some laugh. Others shout at the cast, believing they are disruptive activists. At one point, a large crowd gathers around Treat Williams thinking a real protest is happening, and police officers rush in to investigate. Forman keeps cameras rolling and captures the unpredictability, but the production team struggles to control the situation. Extras blend with real pedestrians. Costumes get mixed with actual street fashion. Call sheets fall apart as scenes must be rearranged on the fly. What audiences do not know is that at least 3 major sequences are reshaped entirely due to spontaneous public interference. Not chaos for show, but genuine street-level confusion. The film ends up feeling alive because the city refuses to behave. Fact number 13. The horse scene nearly turns into a disaster. One of the most iconic surreal sequences involves a horse walking through a crowded hall. It plays as symbolic poetry on screen. But behind the scenes, it becomes one of the most dangerous days on set. The production hires a trained horse that is supposed to move calmly, but the noise levels erupt as hundreds of extras react with too much energy. The animal panics, kicking its hind legs and narrowly missing 2 performers. Handlers move fast. Crew members freeze. The assistant director orders silence, and Forman rewrites the blocking in real time. Instead of using tight choreography, he allows the moment to unfold naturally, keeping the animal's movements minimal. Later, he jokes that the horse has better instincts than half of Hollywood. But the truth is simple. If timing had been off by seconds, Hair could have suffered its most serious on-set injury. That tension lingers in every frame of the final cut. Fact number 12. Twyla Tharp's choreography breaks the cast. The choreography in Hair does not resemble traditional musical rhythm. Twyla Tharp creates a system of movement based on controlled chaos. Each dancer must shift between smooth lines, explosive jumps, and sudden stillness. The technique is brutal on the body. Rehearsals run long, and dancers collapse from exhaustion as Tharp demands raw instinct rather than polished routines. Some cast members admit privately that they have no idea whether they are succeeding. Tharp pushes them to abandon perfection and embrace imperfection, which contradicts everything they learn in classical training. The result is movement that looks wild, free, and emotionally messy. Not stage choreography, but a cinematic language of rebellion. What audiences do not know is that at least 5 dancers sustain injuries during the shoot, mostly from repetition and unpredictable improvisation. Yet Tharp insists that the physical strain is part of the film's truth. The energy you see is not acted, it is survival. Fact number 11. The draft board scene carries real emotional trauma. When Claude faces the draft board, the moment feels painfully authentic. There is a reason. Forman encourages the actors to draw from real experiences, and several cast members have personal family ties to the Vietnam War. During rehearsal, a supporting actor breaks down while describing a relative who never returned home. The room falls silent. Forman keeps the emotional tone and instructs everyone to use genuine fear rather than performative anger. On shooting day, the atmosphere is heavy. Actors speak with trembling voices. Extras portraying military officers maintain cold composure because some of them have served in real conflicts. The tension is so strong that crew members stand still behind monitors, unable to speak until the scene is over. The emotional weight bleeds into the film, turning a scripted moment into a living memory of a generation's trauma. What the audience feels is not staged. It is shared history resurfacing. Fact number 10. The hair transformations push wig makers to their limits. Hair is not just a title. It becomes an industrial challenge. The production requires dozens of wigs, extensions, and natural styles that must survive dance storms, sweat, and outdoor heat. The wig department works around the clock, crafting pieces that look effortlessly wild, yet withstand constant movement. Some wigs take hours to reset after a single take because dust and wind reshape them unpredictably. Treat Williams jokes that the hair on set has its own call sheet. Crew members agree. At one point, a wig literally lifts off during a jump and sails across the frame, forcing a full reshoot. Not chaos for comedy, but a real breakdown in continuity. Hair becomes an unpredictable character, and the stylist must fight it every day. And here comes the mid-roll hook. Go ahead and like and subscribe because the next facts expose the most chaotic breakdowns the cast never talks about. Fact number 9. The desert sequence exhausts everyone, including the crew. The surreal desert vision looks dreamlike, but the experience of filming it feels brutal. Cast members are transported to a barren plain with minimal shade and intense glare. Every movement becomes a struggle. The sand reflects light so fiercely that actors can barely open their eyes between takes. Forman wants the hallucination to feel disorienting, so he pushes the team through extended rehearsals in the heat. Crew members wrap equipment with cloth to prevent overheating. Water jugs empty faster than expected. Some extras faint. The scene requires slow, hypnotic motion, but the environment pulls the performers into real fatigue. What the audience reads as mystical is actually the cast fighting real physical collapse. The final cut glows with dream energy because they are nearly delirious. It is not a stylized illusion. It is true exhaustion captured on film. Fact number 8. Beverly D'Angelo's pregnancy changes entire scenes. Few viewers know that Beverly D'Angelo is pregnant during filming, which forces a major rethinking of choreography and blocking. Forman refuses to hide it in a cheap way. Instead, he works the visual reality into the energy of her character. But off-camera, the production becomes a puzzle. Camera angles shift. Dance movements soften. Schedules rearrange to reduce physical strain. D'Angelo still delivers intense emotional beats, but the team carefully shields her from the roughest moments. One planned dance number is removed entirely because the risk is too high. What audiences do not realize is that several intimate close-ups are shot early in production, while wide scenes come weeks later after adjustments are made. Her presence in the film feels warm and grounded because she is balancing performance with real-life transformation. Not acting emotion, but living through it. Her storyline becomes richer because of the authenticity she brings to the screen. Fact number 7. The camera crew invents new techniques for group movement. Hair is not shot like a traditional musical. Classic musicals rely on symmetrical framing and predictable staging. Forman wants the opposite. He wants drifting bodies, unpredictable paths, and sudden eruptions of energy. The cinematography team soon realizes that no existing playbook can capture dancers who behave like a moving storm. So, they improvise. They redesign rigs to glide between performers. They develop handheld swings that follow actors in tight patterns without colliding with them. One operator describes the movement as threading a needle at full speed. Another admits he has bruises from bumping into dancers during early takes. The production experiments with lenses that distort corners to make the world feel fluid. Some shots succeed by accident because the chaos becomes poetic. Viewers later praise the film's organic feel, but the truth is that the crew is inventing techniques on the fly. Not careful choreography, but adaptive cinematography born from survival. Fact number 6. The final scene nearly collapses from weather and emotion. The closing moments of Hair carry enormous emotional force, yet filming them turns into a logistical crisis. The weather shifts suddenly. Clouds roll in. Wind tears through the set. Temperature drops. Extras shiver between takes. Forman refuses to postpone because he believes the instability adds emotional grit. But the cast struggles to stay focused. Their voices tremble. Their breath turns visible. The atmosphere feels heavy in ways no script can predict. At one point, a gust of wind scatters props across the field. Crew members sprint to recover them while cameras keep rolling. The emotional weight of the scene intensifies as the environment fights everyone involved. When the final shot lands, it feels raw and unfiltered because the cast is living through genuine distress. Not polished drama, but spontaneous feeling. The moment becomes one of the most powerful conclusions in musical cinema because nature itself participates. Fact number 5. The cast sings through real emotional collisions. Hair feels spontaneous because many of the vocal performances happen under real emotional strain. Forman pushes his cast to enter scenes without fully knowing whether they will sing, speak, or shift into improvisation. This unpredictability creates tension on set. Some actors begin songs with shaky breath because they have just finished an intense argument or rehearsal meltdown. Others burst into laughter or tears in ways the script never planned. During one key musical moment, the cast completes a full take only for Forman to ask them to sing again without stopping, even if the emotions overlap or derail the rhythm. The second take becomes the one used in the film. It holds cracked notes, raw breath, and imperfect timing. Not polished Broadway clarity, but human truth. What audiences hear is the sound of actors confronting real vulnerability. Not performance, but revelation. The music becomes living emotion caught before it settles. Fact number 4. The military base shoot faces government pushback. The production team attempts to film portions of the military sequences on an actual base. Permissions are granted, but complications appear quickly. Officials express concern that Hair presents anti-war messages during a period when public debate remains heated. Crew members receive sudden restrictions. Certain areas become off-limits. Extras portraying soldiers must follow strict guidelines. Any improvisation is shut down instantly. Forman grows frustrated but adapts. He reframes shots to emphasize emotional reaction rather than political detail. Yet the tension affects everyone present. Soldiers stationed on the base watch from a distance. Some smile, others remain guarded. Shooting days shorten unexpectedly as the government reevaluates its tolerance for the project. What emerges on screen is the result of compromise and quiet resistance. The cast channels real anxiety into the scenes, not staged fear, but a lingering sense that authority is watching. This subtle pressure electrifies the final footage. Fact number 3. Treat Williams performs dangerous practical moves. Treat Williams embraces physical commitment in Hair. He refuses to lean on stunt doubles for most scenes because he believes the character's energy must explode directly from the actor. This choice leads to risky moments. During one outdoor sequence, he sprints across uneven ground while weaving through extras and nearly trips over a hidden cable. Crew members gasp as he recovers mid-stride and stays in character. Another incident occurs during a swirling dance movement when he collides with a background performer. Both hit the ground. Cameras capture the fall, and Forman later decides to keep the energy from that rehearsal in shaping the scene. Williams laughs it off, but admits the production feels like a physical battleground at times. The character he portrays radiates confidence, because Williams throws his entire body into every beat, not acting wildness, but living inside it. The danger enriches the performance and gives it electric unpredictability. Fact number 2. The musical numbers shifted tone at the last minute. Hair is famous for its explosive musical numbers, yet several of them do not look anything like Forman's original plan. During the edit, he realizes that the film's emotional rhythm needs sharper contrasts. Scenes meant to be comedic become introspective. Sequences intended as gentle become aggressively chaotic. Entire sections are rebuilt in the cutting room using alternate takes and rearranged choreography. The editor remembers that dailies feel like puzzle pieces from different films. Some clips glow with improvisation. Others reflect structured dance. Forman chooses instinct over planning. He lets emotion dictate structure. The final musical arc becomes more jagged, more surprising, and more reflective of the late 60s spirit. What the audience perceives as artistic intention is really post-production reinvention. Not a clean musical blueprint, but a collage shaped by instinct and discovery. The soundtrack we know today emerges from editorial intuition moments before the deadline. Fact number 1, the cast experiences a real grief shift during the story's tragic turn. The final act of Hair carries a devastating twist, and filming it transforms the emotional climate on set. When Claude's fate unfolds, the cast must sit with grief that feels too close to real life. Many performers have friends or relatives touched by Vietnam. As the story turns darker, laughter on set fades. The tone becomes reverent, almost ceremonial. During the shooting of the final sequence, several actors step away between takes to process their feelings. One performer later says that the scene made her understand her parents in a new way. The sorrow you see on screen is not cinematic manipulation. It is the cast confronting memories and fears that lived beneath the surface all along. Not fictional tragedy, but a reenactment of a generation's wound. The emotion becomes so heavy that even crew members remain silent when the cameras stop. The story's impact reaches beyond performance. Bonus fact, the original ending was even darker and the studio panicked. Few fans know that Forman first considers an ending far bleaker than the one released. His early concept leans heavily on surreal imagery, blending the funeral sequence with hallucinations that would blur life and memory. The studio reads the treatment and panics. Executives fear audiences will reject a finale that feels too abstract and too despairing. They worry that the film will alienate viewers who expect uplift from a beloved musical. Forman fights for the vision, but finally compromises. He preserves the emotional punch while removing the most experimental layers. Some storyboards survive. They reveal a version of Hair that leans fully into psychedelic mourning. Hair emerges as a film shaped by chaos, invention pressure, and real emotion. What looks like a joyful musical is in truth a chronicle of exhaustion, defiance, and creative risk. Its legacy endures because it captures not just a story, but a moment when art and turmoil collide. If you enjoyed these revelations, go ahead and like and subscribe for more hidden Hollywood histories. Let the sunshine in.